why wouldn't it be bad to help save someone else when
your time's up?
When your time's up,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yep.
why wouldn't you want to?
Well, you can continue life.
You continue life,
Yeah.
definitely. Kirk saved 7 people.
That's unbelievable.
We do know a couple of them were children, so they changed children's and families' lives. Imagine if that was your child, right? Imagine being a dad who has their child with liver failure or something like that, right? Like, imagine that worry on that family every single day, right? And then having that miracle change their families' lives. What if one of those people one day cure cancer? What if one of those people make an impact on someone who does something profound, right? I'm just a huge advocate for organ donation, especially seeing the changes. So Kirk saved 7 people.
7 people?
His heart still beats on today.
Well, welcome everybody back to the Quiet Riot Show. We're doing another episode. We're doing the thing. We're still here.
Yeah.
We're doing the thing.
Yeah.
We have a very, and I don't know anything about our guest today other than like just very, very basic things. And so I'm really, really excited is the wrong word for this. I never know what to say when we do this because like it's not an excited thing. Like when we found out kind of some of the story that you're going to help sort of walk us through. I wouldn't say excited was the emotion I felt, but I think I was looking forward to this conversation in a curious way.
Yeah, to me it was a story that needs to be told.
Yeah.
On in every way possible, and so I'd like to welcome Scott Cadman. I first of all, I'm really sorry for what happened. But I don't feel like, I think we need to just dive right into the quick introduction of you, and you tell us a quick story, and then we'll do a little check-in.
Sure.
We do a check-in at the beginning of our show, just how we're doing today.
Okay.
And whether it's today, this week, this month, whatever you want to take, that's up to you. We usually do it kind of like from our last show, how we're doing. So sometimes it's a week off, sometimes it's a couple weeks, but yeah, let's do a check-in and then we'll do a deep dive on the full story.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure being here with both of you today. My name's Scott Cadman. I'm a proud father of 2 boys, proud father of 2 dogs. As their children as well.
And they're never not.
No, they're not. They're more than children. They get more, you know.
Yeah. I do know that.
Yeah. But with that being said, I'm a teacher at the L'Oreal Arts and Tech Center. I teach English supports to students who need those supports.
Okay.
I'm also a coach at the University of Manitoba in the athletics department.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What do you coach?
Track and field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I was really fortunate to grow up in the track and field community, and now later in life, I'm back there coaching in the track and field community. So my
nephew is just getting into pole vaulting.
Interesting.
And he's like the only pole vaulter male in his age group, and so he's had this really interesting experience with it, and he absolutely loves it.
Oh, pole vaulting is amazing.
Is that a track and field
it is.
thing?
It
is considered part of that? Okay.
Running, jumping, skipping, hopping.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. He practices at U of M all the time.
Excellent.
Yeah, and he just absolutely loves it and has had this really unique experience because he's the only one.
I guarantee you I've run into him then.
You probably have.
Yeah. Yep.
His name's Ivan. So if you ever see him, you can say hi.
Okay, will do.
He's a very lean, fit young man. I think, what is he, 16? He's 16.
I think they're all lean and fit.
I would imagine
yeah,
so.
Exactly.
If you're doing that, I don't think you're not.
I mean, imagine, me doing that stuff.
No. I'd pay to see it.
I know you would.
Oh,
can we do Tommy Track and Field Day?
Pole vault is very technical though. I mean, you mess up and you're going the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
So it's very technical, and it's quite an outstanding sport.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't want to take away from you introducing yourself. So, what brought you here today?
Well, what brought me here today is to share my story, my son's story, and how day by day it's becoming more and more beautiful by sharing that story.
Tim.
So we use a number system 1 to 10.
Okay.
How we're doing. So I guess since the last show, I'm probably 7.
Okay.
Yeah, which is my
That's your regular.
that's my ceiling usually.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm a 7. It's been a pretty crazy little while, but it's summertime. My daughter's home. She was at camp last week, and so me and Rachel, my wife, went to my best friend's cabin for a few days and like just relaxed and realized that we hadn't been away together for more than 48 hours, for more than 24 hours without Autumn in 4.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, we should probably go away for a couple days. So we did,
It's
and it was amazing.
Nice way to reconnect.
It was amazing. I had so much fun, and we just like really had a good time together, just doing whatever we felt like. It was awesome. And
wonderful.
so I'm feeling. This has been a busy, stressful week, but I'm still riding high on the few days of enjoyment out at the lake. So
nice,
I feel
beautiful.
good. You?
Awesome. I'm running at a good 7-8.
Okay.
I've had a few good days. I actually switched. So just for you, some listeners might know this already. I work crazy hours. I would start 4:30 a.m. and then I'm off nice and early at 1 o'clock. But staying up late, doing some work, and now in the summer the kids are home, so they don't go to bed. There's no structure, so I'm staying up even longer. So I actually switched my shift, and I'm starting later now. So I'm actually getting some sleep. I feel like I'm a little more productive, and just been really focusing on my well-being the last couple of weeks, and my cholesterol and I'm pre-diabetic.
How's your salad diet?
It's good actually. Like today, I had pizza for the first time in the last 2 weeks, and but it's been just eating.
Not healthy.
Well, but I've been eating lots of avocados and salads and greens and chickpeas and stuff like that. So just really trying to watch what I put in my body. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better, as just like mentally it really brought me down when I found out the bad results.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I kind of made peace with that. Okay, this is what I have to do in order for me to be around for my kids longer. So yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah. Scott.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm about a 6-7 right now. I just finished winding down the entire school year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's being a teacher is actually pretty difficult. You always have to be on at school and outside of school, because you're being reached no matter what, and you got to help. That's the kind of teacher I am. With that being said, I'm looking forward to the summer. I'm headed to I guess the lake this weekend, and I'm going to spend some quality time with my wife Amanda.
Nice. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it's
good.
much needed.
Yeah, very much needed. Yeah, because it's been busy.
Yeah.
We really, for the past year and a half, have not had a single break. Like, I'm talking none.
Yeah.
It's just been go. There's been a lot of things happening and a lot of things moving. So yeah,
That's a lot of That's
yeah.
you need a break.
Yes,
and I know that
definitely.
just from like my wife as a teacher too. Like, they say, teachers get 2 months off and 2 weeks off in the winter plus spring break. That time is much needed, because you get phone calls in the evening, from crazy parents or whatever,
and emails
from students,
and then students, sending you Teams messages. How do I do this,
That's
Mr.
right.
Scott? Like all these kinds of things.
So like you really need those 2 months to unwind from your job, and then. I mean, I can't imagine being off for 2 months and then going back to work. Like, that stress, like the anxiety level in me would probably explode. But I guess you're used to it once you do it for a few years, right?
with what I will explain a little bit later in my story, there is no time off during the summer, really.
That's right.
It's just been going, and all for good reasons too. So
Great. Well, I'm very grateful you're here.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing what you're going to share with us. I think it's going to be beautiful and sad and tragic and lovely and all these things. So let's get started, and why don't you walk us through it?
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to start day of.
Sure.
So it's about 3:30 in the afternoon. Not sure why, but I begin crying at work. I don't know why. I was just in my office and I started to cry. I closed my office door and, I thought, am I going through something? Like, why am I doing this, right? Get home. Never usually listen to music or anything. And I turn on the radio and I was listening to a few songs. And, I was going through a pretty rough time that day. And I wasn't sure why, because I didn't really have anxiety prior to this. I didn't have, difficulties managing prior to this. Mm-hmm. I've always been a very lucky person to not have that, right? That day, I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know how. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew something profound was going to happen. And so that night, I usually watched my YouTube channels and, fell asleep on the couch. My phone started going off. We have a Ford app. My son, who is named Kirk, had just purchased about a year prior a brand new Mustang with my help. He had just finished MITT in the auto mechanics. And I said, this is a great opportunity for you. Okay. Young kid, beautiful car, amazing runner himself. And, I wouldn't trade it for the world. That car was just his life. That car was, his baby, right? Just like we treat our cars like our babies, right? Yeah. With that being said, that night I was awoken by my phone, and it was the Ford app. Airbags had gone off.
Okay.
In the Ford Mustang, and we always made sure that we had access to each other's phone. Just in the event that ever did occur, we would know the location. Yeah. First off. Yeah. And what occurred. I'm like, okay, this has happened before. It was a fault. Yep. I'm thinking this is going to be the same case, right?
Faulty sensor or whatever it was. And
I call, no answer. I call again, no answer. I call again, no answer. I knew something was wrong. My son comes downstairs. He's got another app. I mean, we're pretty safety
This is your
conscious.
other son.
Yeah, my other son, Ethan. Comes downstairs, and he's got another app, and he said that the G-Force thingy in the phone had gone off. I don't know what app shows that.
Yeah.
In any case, it also showed a location, and he tried calling. No call. So we get into the truck, and both of us, my son Ethan and I, and I'm like, where is he? I need to focus on getting to where the location said, the GPS coordinates, yada, yada, yada. But a mile before we got there, it was on the highway. I saw probably 5, maybe 6 fire engines, 2 ambulances, 5 or 6 RCMP cars. I knew right then and there. And this was a mile away. I knew. Without even seeing what happened, I knew something bad happened. When we were approaching, I lost it. And, I had to pull to the side of the road, and I ran across the street. The RCMP thought, okay, this crazy guy, I don't know who it is coming running at us. What the heck's going on here? And this is a highway. RCMP tackled me. And I said, where is my son? And I just kept screaming, where is my son? Where is my son? I saw his shoes on the ground. I saw his phone on the ground. I saw his car. And I saw the semi that hit it. And I saw things you should never see. I saw the round head where his head hit a window. Seatbelts, airbags do not help you
No.
when a semi hits you like
No,
that.
that's doing nothing.
With that being said, freaking out as a normal father would do, screaming, where is my son?
Yeah.
RCMP trying to get some sense into me, saying, who are you? Right?
Yeah,
and because I'm just
Yeah.
a crazy guy running
Yeah, you
across the
just
street,
pulled up,
right?
yeah.
Like all these people are looking
Well,
at
and I
me.
guess at this point, nobody had, they hadn't phoned you or
No.
contacted you. So,
No.
you're showing up there, and, technology is a new thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they would maybe, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is this?
Yeah, they had no clue how I found out
Yeah.
that location.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to tell them how I
Yeah.
found out
Yeah.
that location. And they said, smart idea, right?
Yeah.
With that being said, my son wasn't there, but everyone else was. They told me my son was being rushed to the hospital by Star's ambulance service.
Okay.
To my understanding, he got there very, very quickly. I looked at the RCMP officer. I said, sir, I'm calming down. Just, I need you to let me go, because he was actually bear hugging me at the time because I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I said, look, my other son, Ethan's going to drive to the hospital. I'm going to calm down. But I need you to tell me, is my son okay? He looked at me in the eye and he said, he was breathing when he left here. I knew right then and there that was his way of saying when he left here, but probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you had, you said earlier that you had talked, you'd been feeling this all day.
I had, and I don't know why, I don't know how, but I knew something was coming on, and it just was there.
The body, the universe, I don't know what you call that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Just
That
knows.
intuition, yeah.
It just knows.
Yeah.
How many stories are there about people feeling that same thing before
Being
something?
across the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really, really strange.
How
And,
was Ethan in this moment?
so?
How old was Ethan at the time?
Ethan was 19.
Okay.
Or sorry,
how old,
18.
And
18,
how old?
and Kirk was 19
Okay.
at the time. So he just passed before his
Okay.
20th birthday, just before his 20th birthday.
Okay.
On my birthday, he was pronounced, which is really strange. Ethan was, he was quiet. Ethan and Kirk grew up as best friends. They were
Close in age.
They were close in age. They hung out together, same friends together, same school together, same room together. You know, they had bunk beds growing up. They got along really, really well. They were each other's best friends. They really were. Ethan, you know, he since this has happened, you know, he's been struggling as well, and you know, we're trying to offer whatever supports we can through medical, personal, whatever we can provide. You know, we want to make sure that he comes out of this okay, because he also saw what I saw, and every time I close my eyes, I tell you, it's there. Every time I go to bed, it's there.
It's burned.
It's burnt into my mind, and it cannot go anywhere. With that being said, you know, the cop, the RCMP officer said, okay, I'm going to let you go. Your son's going to drive. He's on his way to the Health Science Center. On the way to the Health Science Center, I made a few phone calls, called my wife, Kirk's mom, called my mom, called grandma, grandpa, and I said, I can't tell you how I know this. The cop said that he's breathing right now, but you need to get to the hospital because this is probably going to be the last day you ever speak to Kirk. I made it to the hospital with my son before anyone. as we were halfway there,
You're making the phone calls on the way.
making
Yeah.
the phone calls on the way, and I'm trying to be as calm as possible in the phone, not to stress my other son out and
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And
I still feel like you need to be the support
yeah,
for everyone else.
yeah, and I get to the hospital, I walk in the door, and I'm like, "Can you please tell me where my son is?" He just arrived by Stars. The nurse looks at me. She knew right away.
Yeah.
She said, "He's brain dead. I'm sorry."
Mm.
That was it. I said, "Can you show me where he's at?" They brought me to a room. He was on a ventilator. They were keeping his functions going.
Yeah.
But completely brain dead. Something you never want to see your child ever.
I can't imagine.
His face was black and blue, and
Yeah.
and it was the hardest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, mentally, physically. I felt like falling to the ground. I felt like shaking. I did.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelief, I didn't believe that this was occurring. I'm like to the nurse, "Are you sure?
Yeah.
Can you just do something to help him?" Because his body was okay. It was just his head.
Yeah.
She said, "No, I'm sorry." And that's where Kirk's life took a massively heroic turn.
Mm-hmm.
And that night, I went home, and I still looked outside for him to show up at
Yeah.
at night. When the car comes in, you see the red lights in the window, right?
Yeah.
I still
Waiting
to this
for
day,
them.
I
Yeah.
still to this day look out the window and hope to see those lights.
Mm-hmm.
The lights arrive. But that night, I had a dream, and this goes to that feeling I had during the day. That dream was a pane glass window, clear, clouds behind it, one sun, and then in front of the window there was a Bristol board, like teachers
Yep.
pin things
Mhm.
on.
Yep.
It's probably about 500 pieces of loose leaf.
Oh.
On each piece of loose leaf, it said, "Let go." My son was communicating to me at that point in
Yeah.
time.
I believe that for sure.
I drew it as soon as I woke up because I'd never had these kind of dreams before. I've had close family members pass,
Mm-hmm.
but never have I had profound, messages like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
ever happen to me. I drew it right away, and I still have that drawing.
Hmm.
One day I hope to get it tattooed on me. So
Nice.
Nice.
We were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
tattoos right before
Yeah.
the show.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a good one to get.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
It definitely, it's a unique story on that.
So can you tell us a little bit about Kirk?
Yeah, I love to talk about Kirk. Kirk loved three things in the world. He loved music. I got to listen to him play guitar every single night for about 2 hours.
Mm.
His favorite song was "Tears in Heaven." Go figure.
Oh, shit.
I'm not kidding.
Oh man.
So I he would constantly play that over and over and over and over again. I'm going to tell you why. When Kirk was young, and as he grew up, he let his heart be the lead,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's my life.
His emotions were through his heart. What he did, helping people, whatever he did came from his heart. Sometimes not his mind, but his heart.
Mm.
Always the most helping person you'll ever meet. I think he expressed his emotions through the guitar,
Mm.
to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
That makes sense to me.
So we got to listen to the most beautiful, beautiful songs. Tears in Heaven. Oh, geez, you name it, he's played it. When we used to live in an apartment, the people beside Kirk's room didn't bang on the wall to tell him to stop. They banged on the wall when he did stop to continue.
So that he'd keep playing.
Yes.
Those sounds like great neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Literally, he was that good.
Mm-hmm.
And, self-taught as well.
Well, nice.
So he loved music. He loved cars. Kirk graduated in MITT. He auto mechanics. He loved cars. His first car, brand new Mustang. Brand new Mustang. He loved that thing. If I ever came near it, I'm like, Kirk, can I borrow the keys just for a couple minutes, right?
Yeah.
Because you like to borrow my truck, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can I borrow your
No,
truck?
I'm taking the Mustang.
Your Mustang just for like 5 minutes, just around the block,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's like, okay. And then when he hands it to me, he's like, nah. Puts it in my pocket, or puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
He's like, take it.
Yeah.
He loved that car, like absolutely loved it. He loved cars, period.
Yeah.
He loved working on 'em. His profession was a mechanic. He worked in big rigs. He worked in big rigs as a mechanic.
Oh, that's a tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said the tires were so heavy
Yeah.
that, just lifting one of those,
Oh, it's
he's in good
nuts.
shape.
Yeah.
So he loved cars. He loved working on them. He loved everything cars, and he loved speed.
Was
Unfortunately,
he a mechanically minded? He must have been a mechanically minded person.
Yeah.
And I would kind of think that actually learning how to play the guitar,
Yep.
being a mechanic, like some of those skill sets are like very much the same.
yeah.
Like the same type of person would do those things.
He definitely used his hands.
Yeah.
To learn.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes that's the most beautiful way to learn. Right. It's so many different ways to learn, but that's how he did it. And Kirk also loved running. Kirk was the most beautiful runner I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm not just saying that because he was my son. He ran like the wind. His stride was probably about 2.5 meters. He was 6'6", by the way.
Oh, he was a big man.
He was a big man. And when we shook, or when he gave me a hug, I felt like a baby. Let's just put it that way.
No
And
shit.
I don't know how.
Is Ethan tall too?
Yeah, he's the same size now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're both really big kids, and I don't know what's in the water or what's in the milk. But holy smokes, kids are getting big these days. You know, like holy. So he was 6'6".
Okay.
Beautiful runner, ran so smooth. And I'd like to tell you a little story about his running.
Yeah, please.
Which kind of leads off into a little bit of a different story. So he loved running so much. He was always the first to welcome people into the athletics community, not because Dad was coach, but because Kirk's heart was huge. He was helping everybody all the time. I often told Kirk, you're always helping others. You need to, help yourself too, right? But with that being said, that was Kirk, and
I also bet that helping others is what helped him.
it really did.
And maybe I'm
fed
wrong.
off of
Maybe
it,
I'm
right?
wrong, but like his energy came from that.
Yeah.
Being in service to others, helping others, caring about others. That probably filled his battery instead of drained it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Leading with your heart is probably one of the most rewarding things to do, but it's also one of the most scariest things to do too, because a lot of people take advantage of it, right?
You put yourself at a lot of risk.
And I've seen that happen to Kirk quite a few times with relationships and so on, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, he always helping others and giving pointers. new people in the sport as they're doing a warm-up, Kirk would just go right up to them. Hey, my name's Kirk, what's your name? And just run with them during a warm-up just to help them relax,
Get
first day,
comfortable,
first week, all those kind of, get comfortable, all those kinds of things. He was just an amazing kid. Kirk, he was an amazing athlete. Unfortunately, one day at school, he was playing floor hockey in gym, and because why not, right? Have fun, play some hockey. It's like, Kirk stepped on the hockey stick, and he was in a sock because he didn't have his gym shoes, and dislocated his knee.
Oh shit!
Yeah. A year and a half of Kirk. So when he dislocated his knee, the school called me, and I'm like, "What? How does that happen? Like, how does a knee get dislocated?
Yeah.
Come pick up your son." I'm like, if he's a dislocated knee, you shouldn't be calling.
You're like, maybe I shouldn't be driving him.
Yeah. But anyhow, I got to the school. I was less than a block away at the time where I worked, and Kirk's sitting in the office. He's looking around. He's in shock. He's laughing. He's like, "Hey, Dad, look at my knee." And it's like sideways.
He's clearly in shock.
And I'm like, "Oh, my goodness. All right, Kirk, let's go." So his gym teacher and I, we grabbed one side, the other side, put him right into the back of the truck of the F-150. He was like 6'4" at the time, so there was lots of room.
14.
Yeah.
He was 14?
Yeah, so 14, 15-ish, around there. Yeah. And, got him to the hospital. After the initial shock wore off.
Yeah.
Wasn't laughing then. I'll tell you that. So he's a little bit more scary at that point, and doctor told him, you dislocated your kneecap. You're probably never going to run the way you want to again. You have a partial broken ligament. It's not going to be a good idea for you to do that ever.
Is that? Sorry to interject, but that's a pretty shitty thing for a doctor
really
to say to a kid.
Yeah, it really
Like, fine,
is.
you say that to me, like I'm an adult. I can determine what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah.
But like to a 14-year-old who just like is clearly athletic.
Yeah.
I'm sure he
wants
athletic.
to move around all the time. Yeah.
And that was
just
the first
for a minute,
thing.
I'm going to crush your fucking dream. Like, what the?
Yeah, and that's what everyone tells me is the doctor. Wow,
That's a pretty crummy way to speak to a 14-year-old.
It really was. But with that being said, the doctor was stating what he thought, and on Kirk's foremind is, can I run?
Just
he
his
loves to
bedside
run.
manner a little
Right?
bit. Like, how about, come on.
Exactly.
Anyways, we don't need to
right,
harp on that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just that struck me like, what the
But
hell?
you know what? He actually gave it back to the doctor. He goes, if I can't run, I'm going to walk. Kirk then became
Good for him.
one of Manitoba's first ever race walkers.
Okay.
Yes, placing 5th at Nationals in the U16 Championships.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Top 5 in Canada. Yep.
That's
And
impressive.
hey, Kirk said, if I can't run and I got all this physio and all this kind of stuff, I'm going to walk, right? And believe me when I say, probably race walking is just as hard as running. It's probably even harder because your waists are, oh my goodness.
I've
they
seen
hurt.
clips of it, and it's pretty like intense.
Yeah, your feet don't move. They don't leave the ground,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Like
I guess that's a rule, probably. Like that's
Yeah,
probably
there's
one.
Almost
I've
like
always
shimmy,
wondered,
or
but, like,
I guess.
it always looks to me like people have to go to the bathroom really bad. But like,
And sometimes they do, but I've seen it. But it took race walking. He started learning. I was his coach, but race walking was really out of my field. A gentleman by the name of Wayne McMahon stepped in and taught him how to race walk.
okay,
Kirk, like I said, took a knack on it. He started doing it amazingly. People all across Manitoba are like, holy smokes, we have race walking here now at the athletics meets and stuff like that.
Okay.
So this is pretty interesting. It's never happened in like 22 years. Never happened. 22 years. So, during that time, about a year and a half, Kirk went to physio, all those kinds of things, seeing all these doctors, yada, yada, yada. Each and every one of them are saying, okay, walking, but running, you're risking, right? You're risking it. Your kneecap will probably dislocate again.
Yeah, okay.
Because it'll be a lot easier. The tendons are all loose in there and everything. There's nothing we can do to strengthen that other than you doing your work that you need to do, right?
Yep.
And so Kirk did the work he needed to do. He really did. He, about a year and a half after race walking, he looked at me. He's like, Dad, I don't want to walk anymore. I want to run. That was my dream. I want to run. I wanted to be an Olympian. He wanted to be an Olympian. That was one of his dreams.
Was his driving or a driving force.
A driving
for
force. Him. Yeah. And I'm like, Kirk, dads being dads, right?
Well, it's your job. You're his dad.
You're
his protector. You're also his coach.
That's right. And I'm like,
so if he's going to start running, you're going to be sucked into that pretty quick.
I'm in trouble, right? But I said, this was a learning experience for me that Kirk taught me because I now stood in his way. I said, Kirk, you've heard every doctor, you've heard every physiotherapist, they've all said to you, your knee can dislocate very, very easily. And you want to run again one wrong step, and that's going to be another 2 years of recovery and so on, right? Kirk said, you know what, Dad? I wanted to run. He told me running was his dream. To be an Olympian was his dream. Mm-hmm. He could have been. He really could have been. I gave in, being dads. As dads always do, sometimes give in a little, right?
Well, you gotta.
Sometimes there's no point fighting it.
Well,
right?
and you're not going to crush his. If he's that determined, all right, well, now I'm getting excited. I'm on board here. What are we doing?
Yeah. And even though I thought, okay, there's a lot of risk here, right? And I knew there was, but how could we do it safely, right? Mm-hmm. If this is what he really wanted to do, I couldn't stop him. Yeah. He would just do it.
He's going to do it anyways.
Right? That's what he wanted to do. I mean,
that's what teenage kids do.
You say no and they say yes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
he's going to do it anyway.
That's what I did when I was a teenager. Did what my parents didn't let me do.
Right.
So I said, okay, let's take it slow. Right? I said, I'm on board then. Let's take it slow. You're going to start off with a knee brace, running, stuff like that to make sure. Let's see how things go, right? No way.
It's like Forrest Gump with the fucking leg braces.
It really was.
Exactly.
It really was. Yeah. No way. He was pretty tall at this point. Yeah. Probably like 6'5" at that point, right in time. He's just approaching the 6'6" mark and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, Kirk, okay, what do you want to do? He said, Dad, I want to be a 400-meter runner. I'm like, okay, we need to look at this realistically. Let's look at times. Let's look at where we sit. Mm-hmm. Let's look at the work we need to do. And I said to Kirk, what if we tried 400-meter hurdles? Like, look at your legs. Your legs are taller than the hurdles. Like, you just step over them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and let's try that, right? Like, because I knew the 400-meter hurdle it has a little bit less impact on the athlete because you're gliding over it, right?
Yeah.
Rather than taking a 500-pound step each.
Just stomping your way across.
Each way,
Yeah.
So it's a little bit less impactful. I didn't think he'd finish the race, to be honest.
Okay.
Well, he finished the race, and boy, did he ever. He became ranked number 1 in Canada.
Are you serious?
No joke.
So he just didn't give up, and then he kicked ass.
Yeah, he kicked ass. So I'm like, okay, Dad's all proud now.
Yeah.
Forget everything I said. You're making me look good now.
Yeah,
right?
stubborn. Yeah.
But I did apologize to him because I stood in his way for a little piece of that time, and it was a learning tool for me, right?
Yeah.
That he taught me, and
you're also his dad, and so
Yeah.
he would have learned a certain level of tenacity from
Yeah.
you or his mother or his
Yeah.
grandparents. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you can be proud of that stuff.
Well, I grew
Standing
up.
in his way, you did it out of concern for him and concern for failure. What is it going to like? You're thinking like a dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
He's thinking like a kid, carefree. This is what I want to do.
And he really is. And I got to be a role model for him because, I grew up in the track and field community as well. I was ranked 25th in the world for U18 category in the 800 meter. Long time ago, but with that being said, I was really good. And he sees these pictures in the house and he asks he asked all the time about them growing up and stuff like that. And with that being said, he said he wanted to be like me, which was awesome feeling.
Is there anything dad would want
Yeah.
more? I don't think so.
No, yeah.
Unfortunately, he was way better than I could ever be.
Isn't that what you want too, though?
Yep. And I'm not just saying that. He was way better. He was just a different caliber athlete. He was an athlete, that 1% in the world that could have taken it. He was
one of those.
He was one of those. And just that raw natural talent.
Yeah.
So, he became ranked first in Canada for U18 category. And he got put on some Team Manitoba teams at that point. I'm like, cool. This is great. You get to travel, right? So he went to Alberta, Calgary, Edmonton, Saskatoon, you name it. He's been to Nova Scotia.
All over the country.
Everywhere, all over the country.
So did he stick with hurdles? Was hurdles his...
Hurdles was his now go-to.
Okay.
Yeah. He was known as the hurdler.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Then one of the races, and I remember this at Sherwood Park, Saskatoon. I'm in the stands because I'm not coach at that point, right? I'm dad. I'm watching, right? And he's got his Team Manitoba stuff on, and he's in the blocks, which is the start of track and field, and gun goes off. I'm like, wow, he's going, and then I see him passing everyone. Gets to the end, and I'm looking at my timer, and I'm like, what the hell? Did I stop it somewhere or something like that? Like, this is really quick, crushed the provincial record by a second and a half. Destroyed it.
That's huge.
And that record stood for over 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah. By a second and a half.
That's a significant improvement.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, usually they beat the record
it's like
by
a
just
tenth or
exactly.
100th.
So I'm in the stands and I'm like directly at the finish line. I'm like, holy shoot,
Swear on the show, don't worry.
Holy shit, this is an amazing time. And he comes through the line. I'm stopping the stopwatch, and I look at it and I'm like, did I make a mistake here?
Yeah.
And I look at him, and he's on the ground because after that he's
toast.
tired.
Yeah, for sure.
All your energy's gone. I'm like, holy shit, record. And I'm just screaming record, and I have the video going and everything. You hear record. I jump out of the stands onto the track where Kirk is lying down, and the official's like, you got to get off or we're going to DQ him right now. Disqualify. So I'm like, I'm out of here. Here's water. Goodbye. Right. And he broke the record. And finally, when he finished his warm down, came back to me in the stands, he's like, you know what, Dad? I told you. I told you. I told you. You don't give up.
That's right.
You don't give up on your dream. And that was a teaching moment for me. Yeah. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Never forget those words. You never give up on your dream.
That's incredible.
And he did.
So he was already inspiring people, not just you, but probably other athletes as well.
Oh, he was an amazing friend to the community. He made so many friends in that community. The community loved him, and he loved the community. So he loved those three things in the world quite heavily: cars, music, and running. When Kirk was in the hospital, going back to then, when Kirk was in the hospital, actually, let's go back a couple years. I had an uncle. His name was Ronald, and This is the point in time where we had a conversation as a family about organ donation. And my uncle had kidney failure, and he was getting dialysis every 2 days. The pain that they go through, the cramps that they go through is horrific. We took him shopping all the time, and one day he got a call saying, "We have a kidney for you." Kirk, Ethan, and I drove him to the hospital, waited with him in the hospital until he went in. Now, we did this 3 times because when you get called for an organ, sometimes that organ expires before you get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we did this 3 times for my uncle, and we had a conversation on the last time because it was he got the organ, he got a kidney.
Yeah.
We got home, the whole family had that conversation. I think it was a no-brainer. We said we're all gonna sign up, and if anything happens to us, we would want to help others and save others if we couldn't help ourselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I remembered this. We all remembered it. And Kirk became a hero, saving 7 people's lives through organ donation.
7 people?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Including his heart. His heart still beats on today.
I mean, he was the epitome of health.
Yeah.
If the heart recipient ever knew that they had an Olympian's heart, holy smokes.
Yeah.
So,
why don't we take a little break?
Sure. Take a 5 minute.
And then we'll dig into the whole organ donation.
Sure.
Because I'd like to know more about that as well.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Hey, Tommy, among all the episodes we've recorded, there's one common theme, and that's getting therapy. We've talked about it lots.
Many, many times.
You had a really tough time making that first phone call. I had a tough time making that first phone call. I didn't even know if the person I was going to see was the right person, but you got to just try. Thank goodness we have a sponsor that makes it way easier now. BetterHelp has an online platform that allows you to fill out a questionnaire. They connect you with a therapist, and you get to communicate with them however you want. So whether that's text messaging, that's emails, that's through their app, that's video chats, you get all those options. And it makes it way less scary to be connected with someone. And if you're not into the person you talk to, they'll sign you another one right away. I've gotten assigned mine already, and I can't wait to use it. Like, by the time you hear this, I will have had my first session, and I'm super pumped to talk about it on the show.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and it's very easy to sign up. It took us maybe 5 minutes to sign up, and you answer just simple questions, and next thing you know, you got a message that you will be paired up with a therapist, and within the same day, we got the therapist already, the name and a message from them, and we were able to communicate with them. So it's extremely easy. So please go to BetterHelp.com. Yeah, that's the thing. BetterHelp.com /Quiet Riot Show, and you get to also enjoy 10% off for your first month if you sign up using this link. So again, right here, I'm going to be doing it from here. Yeah, it's BetterHelp.
Am I screwing it up?
.com /Quiet Riot Show. Yeah, sign up today, and you're not going to regret it, because I'm already enjoying it. Just the fact that we connected with a therapist.
Me too, man.
Thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this podcast.
So we were just getting to we just took a break.
Yep.
Welcome back, everybody. Guess we may as well say that.
Nice.
Right? Good segue.
Smooth.
So we were just talking about organ donation. So I can honestly say I know nothing about it other than what I've seen on TV. I don't know if I even know anybody that has that situation, that's received one or given one, or I have no experience with that. So I'm very just the tone of your voice became very proud when you talked about that.
It is.
So I want to dig into that a little
and
bit.
yeah, for me, same thing. I don't know anything about it, but I also I have that card, the little card in my wallet, and my wife comes from a medical family, so that was very important to us to be just like, hey, like anything to help anybody.
Yep.
Once there's no point for me to be around, go for it. Like, I don't need anything, to take with me in the ground, right?
Well, it's important to state what you want, right? And have those conversations with your family, because if one of your family members overrules, even though you decided to, it can be stopped.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
So in those moments, you could have superseded his
wish.
His wish.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
We had that conversation after my uncle received a kidney, and we all decided if our time was here, we'd want to save someone, right? Yep. Now, you have to look at it this way. I saw, Ethan saw, Kirk saw, my whole family saw the change and the profound impact it had on my uncle receiving that kidney, not having to go to dialysis anymore, not getting those cramps, not being able to just to live a life just sitting on the couch watching TV, not being able to go shopping or visiting people and stuff like that.
And then going to the hospital every 2 days.
Every 2 days, it changed his life, and it changed ours, because we got to spend the most beautiful, I think, 8 or 9 more years with him.
Because of that.
And that was really, really important to us. With that being said, Kirk was, and he donated, he had wanted, per that conversation, per our family, we all wanted to donate our organs to save others. Now you have to look at it this way. Imagine all the needless people who die not getting something upon someone else perishing, right? All the needless death, right? Why wouldn't it be bad to help save someone else when your time's up? When your time's up, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to?
Well, you can continue life.
You could.
Yeah.
You continue life, definitely. Kirk saved 7 people.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. We do know a couple of them were children.
Okay.
So they changed children's and families' lives. Imagine if that was your child, right?
Yeah.
Who needed it. Yeah.
Like imagine being a dad who has their child with liver failure or something like that, right? Like, imagine that worry on that family every single day, right? And then having that miracle change their families' lives. What if one of those people one day cure cancer? What if one of those people make an impact on someone who does something profound, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just I'm just a huge advocate for organ donation, especially seeing the changes. So Kirk saved 7 people.
So now you had to make this decision.
Yeah.
In what was the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you.
Yep.
In those moments, because it probably has to happen like now.
So this is what I did. I spoke to my wife. Kirk's mom. I said, let's go to the waiting room. We had 13 family members there. 10 to 13 family members. The whole room was packed with our family. We had.
Sorry, was this the day of the accident or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the next day. The next day, because
that happened in the evening, right? The accident.
It happened in the evening, and the next day was March 2nd, which was my birthday. Jeez.
Happy fucking birthday.
No kidding. That was my son Kirk gave me the best birthday presents ever, but he also gave me the worst one.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I'm going to spend, which I'll tell later on in the story, about the things we're doing to make sure that birthday never goes to waste ever again, right?
Yeah, that's good. We want to hear. We want to hear that stuff.
So
can we show his picture on the camera? Just hold it up right in front of you.
Right here.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Handsome young man.
Good-looking young man.
Yeah. His graduation picture right here.
The lady killer.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah. He's getting the scruff too. But, we had a doctor come up to us and say, "There's nothing we can do."
And it's not going to get better.
It's not going to get better. He's not going to get healthy. And believe me, I asked about 1 million questions to the doctor because I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear it. You know, can't you heal this? Can't you do that? Can't you do that? Can't you do that? And the doctor's like, no. You know, his nerves were severed in half, leading up to his brain.
Yeah.
It's the machines keeping him breathing.
There's just
it's the
nothing.
medications keeping his heart going right now. There was just like a few. There was no way. There's zero chance. Like less than zero. Ever like 0.000. Would you be interested in donating and saving people's lives? I looked at my wife and I both looked at each other and we spoke. And this is how my son lives on. This is how our son lives on. This is how Kirk lives on. This is how, you know, he lives on through others.
7 other people.
7 other people. So we went into the waiting room and I said, if one person says no, it's no. What do we do? What would you think Kirk would want to do? Every one of them said yes, that we should.
Well, that's a sign of the profound impact he had while he was still alive.
Yeah, it really was.
In his previous form.
Yep.
Because clearly he's still alive, but just
he
in a different form.
Yeah. We actually, the day of, so the next day after the accident, you know, they pronounced him officially brain dead. There's nothing they can do. We agreed to organ donation after speaking to the entire family in the waiting room. One person said no, it was a no, right? Like we didn't want to. It had to be everyone, right? So the doctor said, "Can you hold off another day?" I'm like, "Well, how come?" Well, they found someone to take his heart. Except he gave me a little bit more information. There was an Alberta clipper, and when you get a heart transplant, imagine you are getting a heart. You need to pass yourself to get that heart. Right? That is the scariest thing and the last resort ever. They told us there was an Alberta clipper, and they couldn't fly the team out with the recipient. Can you please wait one more day? So we waited. Because that was important to us, right?
Yeah.
His heart still beats. That was important to us because he led his life with his heart. He followed his heart everywhere he went.
Yeah.
That heart was strong.
It really was.
Still is.
Tell me about it, yeah. So you know, Transplant Manitoba did end up sending us a letter from his heart recipient.
Okay. Is that something they do? They facilitate when organ donors receive organs? Okay.
Yep. Now, it's not often done.
Okay.
But if the recipient wants to send a letter to the donor's
or the
family,
donor's
or
family,
vice versa,
Yeah.
it can happen. However, the letters need to be vetted quite heavily by Transplant Manitoba.
Yeah.
There's no names, there's no locations, there's no
Nothing. Yeah.
Fair anonymity,
nothing.
but yeah.
So there's no indicators of who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's something that what's the
Transplant Manitoba.
Transplant Manitoba, is it that's their rule, or if both parties agree they would want to meet?
It's their rule.
Okay.
And they cannot facilitate a meeting.
Okay.
Now there are Facebook groups and stuff like that where donors can meet
up
recipients'
and,
families and things like that, but we haven't really taken that route yet or anything.
So you were saying you received a letter.
We did receive a letter. First off, I got a call from Transplant Manitoba 3 months after, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on? Like you don't. that feeling again came up, and so they told me, "Do you want a letter?" They asked us if we wanted it,
You want
because
to receive
if
it,
we
yeah.
didn't want it, then they
wouldn't.
wouldn't give it to
Yeah.
us. So I said, "Yeah, please send it to us." So a lady got his heart.
Okay.
In the letter, it states that her husband had just died of heart failure. She was having heart failure. Her time was coming. This was a last resort thing. She thinks about the donor every single day and how she keeps care of the heart and all this kind of stuff. Prior to her getting the transplant, she had a really bad cough. She couldn't walk. She had circulation issues. She couldn't even get out of, just out of bed, period. People would shop for her. She was, her time was coming, and she knew
Yeah.
it. 3 months after, she said she thinks about the donor all the time and how she wants to take care of this heart to honor the donor. He doesn't know. She doesn't know if it's a him or her or anything.
yeah.
Right? She can now breathe. She no longer has a cough. She now gardens. She walks 3 blocks.
Jumping over hurdles.
Yeah.
The most profound impact that letter had on us is the end words. Now I get to see my grandchildren be born.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It really was. And with that being said, Kirk, I could feel through that letter that lady also navigated life through her heart.
Yeah.
And I felt Kirk through that letter.
I bet. Yeah.
Yep.
Like it's there. That connection is there.
Mhm.
Right.
It really is. Yep. We are so blessed that our son Kirk's heart does live on. We're not blessed that our tragedy happened, but 7 people received miracles because of that tragedy.
He gave life to 7 people.
He gave life to 7 people, and no matter dad or not, how selfish could I be to ever not want to give that miracle to 7 other
Yeah.
individuals?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Think about him every day. I look out the window, look for him every day. It's
have him everywhere with you. Too.
everywhere with me. Yeah, I even have a tattoo of him. Really interesting story about my tattoo. Can I get into that a little
please.
bit?
Yeah.
Let's
please.
do
it.
We talked about it a little bit off mics before.
Well,
the
and I want. So, is this part of kind of your self healing a little bit? Too,
Yes.
Right. So,
Yes.
Because I'd like to touch on that a little bit too.
Yeah.
What you went through after.
So I will. Every time I thought about Kirk, a fox would show up somewhere somehow. Don't know why. Don't know how.
Yeah. It just happened.
Just happened. Got a fox. As the tattoo artist is doing the fox, my other son sends me a video of a fox running by while she's doing the whisker right there.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, look,
Yeah. It's
play the lottery.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
yeah.
I have a guitar, with his heartbeat right in the middle because that was his heart. The music was his heart.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a beautiful.
2 days before he passed, he sent me a song, Freebird. Loved the song.
Yeah. Classic.
He sent it to me.
Yeah.
And there's a bird. So before I got my tattoo, I'm like thinking in my head, okay, I keep seeing birds, keep seeing foxes whenever I think of my son.
Yeah.
So I get into the car as I'm walking out the door, I'm like thinking in my head, because I still talk to my son all the time, right? Mentally,
He's listening.
And I'm talking out loud sometimes. I'm like, Kirk, which one should I get? Turn the key on in the car. Guess what's playing on the radio?
Freebird.
Freebird. You got it. You got it. It's Freebird.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is a coincidence.
Yep.
I shake it off.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
I drive to the IGA, or not IGA, Sobeys. I go in, pick up, some medication or whatever for my asthma, whatever, come back to the car. And then, guess what? When I got back to my truck, I look on the windshield. There's a bird feather on my windshield. So I'm like, okay.
All right,
He's playing with you.
I'm
He
listening.
is.
I'm listening,
He is.
buddy. I'm
He is.
listening.
And you know what? I think about this all the time. All the synchronicities that occur from these things, right? Like, holy smokes! And on the way home, okay, I had made up my mind. I'm like, okay, Kirk, you made up your mind. I'm gonna get a bird. Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna get a bird. You sent me free bird. I have free bird right now. Feather on the on the hood of the car. I turned down Grandmont Boulevard, and there's a park there. Guess what runs across the street?
A fox.
A fox.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't make this shit up.
Nope.
No, you can't. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get both.
Yeah.
So I got both.
Yeah.
So
And
to
then,
give you a little context for me, my wife's a medium
Okay.
for a living. That's
Okay.
what she does for a living, and
Yep.
she's a tarot reader and a medium. And so I hear stories of these things like all the time.
Yeah.
People having these experiences and these like very clear. If you just shut up for 2 seconds, you see it, and there is no other explanation
yeah.
but that.
It really
Like,
isn't.
it is so definitively true
Yeah.
that there is no other way to explain it.
So, I
And I like what you said, win the lottery.
win the lottery.
Yeah.
I got them both done.
Yeah.
And,
That's crazy.
but
That's awesome. I love that.
About a month after I get that done, I'm looking at watch straps because I had, I'm started exercising again and stuff like that, try and keep mentally healthy and yada, yada, yada.
Mhm.
And I fall asleep with my iPhone looking at watch straps. Had a dream. There's Kirk in the dream. He looks at me, and he looked good. He didn't look this age.
Yeah.
He looked younger.
Oh, okay.
Younger.
Okay.
And he goes, nice watch strap, Dad. I woke up. Holy shit. What is that?
Yeah.
Another example of some of these things that were happening. Day before Father's Day this year. I'm thinking about him. I fall asleep because I'm running part of the marathon with some of my coworkers the next day, trying to get back into shape and stuff like that. And in my dream, I'm in the marathon running. Everyone stopped. Like, everybody stopped, like in slow motion, then stopped. Kirk took 2 steps forward while everyone was frozen and smiled. Didn't say a word. How does this happen?
Yeah.
Prior to this, I would have never believed any of this until it happens to
Happens
you.
to you.
You don't. You don't, right?
Well, because you just don't have your brain can't get there.
Yeah. And that's been part of my healing process, is knowing that he's somewhere,
He's still
knowing
with
that
you.
he's with me,
Yeah.
and knowing that he's with us,
Yeah.
knowing that he's still there,
Mhm.
just in a different way.
Yeah.
And
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And that is part of the healing process.
For sure.
Is you may miss him physically,
Mhm.
but you feel him.
Mm-hmm.
You really do.
Relationships changed.
Yep.
The way you communicate, the way you do things, but
That's
you
right.
still have one.
That's
He's
right.
still there.
My son.
Does your wife or your son have their own version of their own experiences with
Yeah.
this and their own?
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
Birds come to my wife and yell. They're like the crow.
Yep.
free bird.
Yeah.
You know, like
So he's just around.
he's around.
He's hanging out.
He really is.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, there was one really big one that I was at a point where I was suicidal. Imagine your kid.
Yeah.
You know, like
I
how do you
even
cope?
imagine. I can't even
Right?
imagine that.
I'm screaming to God, yelling at him, swearing at him. How could you do this to me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the shower, water's coming down my face. It's hot. I'm just screaming. I need a sign that he's okay. I hear this noise. I'm like, what the heck? It sounded like water running. I opened the shower curtain. There's the sink here. The hot water tap was on full blast. I got a sign. I knew he was okay.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. That snapped me out of
Was that your turning point? Yeah.
of, okay, either I'm losing my mind and I left this on. I second guessed myself about 10 times, 15 times. Like, what the heck, you know? But realistically, I asked for that sign and I got it.
Yeah.
I asked for that sign to know that he was okay.
Yeah.
And I got it. And that was my turning point of taking a different road, of not remembering the day of the horrific event, the day of, which I can never unforget because it's burned
You'll
into
never
my
unsee
eyelids.
it. Yeah.
Yep. But I can take his beautiful story and I can morph it to not remembering the last day, but to remember Kirk for who he was as a person and who he still is.
Yeah.
The days before and the days... There's a lot more days before and there's an infinite amount afterwards.
Yep. So my wife and I spoke and we're like, well, how can we honor Kirk? I mean, the kid's a hero. He saved 7 people's lives. His heart's going, all this kind of stuff. How can we honor him? Well, that night, this is what I'm talking about, these synchronicities. Member of Athletics Manitoba comes up, drives to my house. We want to have a track meet called the Kirk Cadman Memorial Classic.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were so honored. How do you say no to that, right? Like, holy smokes. Like, yes, this is amazing. That's how profound.
Kirk did it. He influenced so many people in the athletic community that that's amazing that they wanted to do that. Like,
you know, I like to think that he's an angel now, but he was a real angel in life.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah.
They came to us. They said, let's start this meet in Kirk's name. Let's create a scholarship in his name called the Kirk Cadman Scholarship Fund. Okay. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So my wife and I took this. We're like, now let's spread Kirk's message, his heroism, his never giving up. How are we going to spread that message even in a more profound way than we could verbally? Usually people change when they feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not when they're spoken to, but when they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We set up something called at the Kirk Cadman Memorial Classic, which is a track and field meet. It just actually occurred
just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
right?
just a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe.
Do you guys go?
Yeah,
Yeah?
we're
Okay.
part of the event.
Okay.
You know, with that being said, we themed it green for organ donation. The medals were green. We had Transplant Manitoba show up as one of the sponsors.
Nice.
We raised, it's a lot of work, but we raised $8,000 now for the Kirk Cadman Scholarship Fund, which is going to go to athletes in the sport of track and field who may not have that opportunity to overcome those financial hurdles in the sport.
That's
right?
amazing. That's
a lot
great.
of people like you have family in track, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just about getting a pair of running shoes and a water
I was
bottle.
just going to ask. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
travel,
Gas,
there's,
trips,
flights, like
Yeah, it's expensive,
Yeah.
and we want to make sure that some of these kids get that opportunity.
Yeah.
So this year we are proud to announce our first recipient of the Kirk Cadman Scholarship Fund at the awards banquet for Athletics Manitoba, which is
Amazing.
coming up in the fall.
That's amazing.
It really is, yeah. So he lives on that way as well.
Yeah, he's just everywhere.
Now, at the meet, this was very, very important to me and my wife and my family. How can we spread Kirk's message, and how do we make people feel, which would help change?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we call it the Kirk Cadman Walk of Dreams. Remember when I told you how Kirk taught me?
Mm-hmm.
I was a barrier
Yeah.
to his dream. I was the barrier. Well, now I want no barriers, because we call every single person down from the crowd onto the track, and we do a ceremonial Walk of Dreams for Kirk to as we walk 400 meters, symbolizing Kirk's resilience of having an injury, saying, okay, if I can't run, I'll walk, right? And then runs again, never
Followed
giving up
his
on
dreams,
his dreams.
yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we want
Amazing.
everyone to reflect
Yeah.
during that 400-meter walk, never giving up on your dreams, and to reflect what your dreams are as you're walking, and what hurdles are in your way. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
What hurdles are what obstacles are in your way, and how to overcome them. The walk started last year. This year, we had hundreds and hundreds of people come down for this walk. It was packed. And I'm going to send you pictures later for
Yeah,
it.
for
Yeah,
sure.
please do.
We'll-
Yeah, we'd love
We'll
to
share
share
them,
that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Also, I just want to see it.
Yep.
It sounds awesome.
It was an amazing event. There were people crying. There was people, and it's not really about Kirk. It's about you. It's about you, of what you want to do in life, and what you need to do to get there, right? And
Which is what he did.
yeah, that's right.
It's about his spirit. It's about the spirit of his tenacity and his refusal to give up or give up hope or not try.
Yep.
And those are all unbelievably honorable things. And if everyone could inspire one person to do that, that's an amazing feat.
Yeah.
Never mind hundreds that he's still doing from wherever he is.
Still, to this day, he's still inspiring people to move forward.
Yeah.
And the community is his vessel.
Yeah.
And kid's a hero, and and he still continues to be an inspiration to others in a different way.
Yeah.
And so now he's got the Kirk Cadman Memorial Classic, which is now on the second year. He's got the Kirk Cadman Scholarship Fund, which goes to athletes, and now he's got the Kirk Cadman Walk of Dreams.
Amazing.
3 items, and
We're gonna share all that information
absolutely.
and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. That's just such a beautiful story.
oh, it was amazing.
Out of such a tragedy, it's such a beautiful story.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is, because we now know, okay, I could look at the day of, and I could be a tornado, hit rock bottom, and never be able to get up. Or we could take his essence, take his spirit, move it forward in a profound way that can change others.
Yeah.
And can have an impact on others. And that's the direction we want to take, because there is no other direction that we can take and get out of it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'm thinking now, like when somebody passes away, you usually have a celebration of life, but this way you guys get to celebrate his life multiple times a year with random strangers at these events, and continue to grow his message, and what he believed in.
Yep. So the first year that we had the Walk of Dreams, we had maybe 100, 200 people.
Yep.
Small.
Which is still amazing.
Now we had like 600 people, and I'm like, holy smokes!
Yeah,
everyone came down, and
it's. I'm pretty sure it's gonna grow.
Yeah,
next year is gonna grow.
You're gonna need more space.
Yeah. So we were actually talking, and I think some of the goals for our future is we're gonna have the Kirk Cadman Memorial Classic, which is track and field meet and all that kind of stuff, and the Kirk Cadman Scholarship, but to build that message, we may expand the Kirk Cadman Run of Dreams for an actual road racer walk, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe a 10K or 5K or something like that. You'd attract way more people, right?
Well, and you're gonna hit a limit on a track.
Yeah,
like you probably did already. So
we were close. I could look back and I could see the tail already. So
you're probably getting to that stage.
Yeah. And are
you a big part of like the organizing, all the things involved in these events? Like
yes.
you're at the head of that. I'm assuming you and your family are big participants and like organizers and all those things.
So my wife and I, there are a couple of ways that we raised the funds. Bake sale. My wife spent weeks baking. Weeks. Every night, and then I would bag it to little individual thingies, put it into the freezer for when the time came, and then little by little, those funds added up and up and up.
Yeah.
So she did that every night, and then I went to probably about 250, and I am not joking, businesses, asking them to donate to a silent auction. We had a few things at the meet that they could. Sport Check donated $1,000 bike.
Amazing.
Wow.
So a lot of revenue were coming for the scholarship, right? We had a 50-50. We get 50% goes to the scholarship, 50% goes to someone else, right? We had. So I went probably like 250 businesses, and maybe 10% had donated even after me telling them. And I was a little taken back by that, but I also understand we live in a very rough time right now, right? And
it's harder,
and businesses are shuddering, like they're hurting, right? So I was really, really grateful for any type of donation that they could offer, whether it just be showing up.
At 10% is already a win.
Yeah. And some of the ones that didn't donate actually showed up for the walk. So that was in a way, their support, right? So it was a lot of running around to do, a lot of logistics, a lot of emailing, and this is what I'm saying. I really haven't had a break yet.
You're about to.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I believe that because you were so busy prepping for all this, that kind of helped you. I don't want to use the word forget, because you'll never forget what happened, but it helped you cope with the pain and kind of probably focus on, okay, because you said like that day when you were in the shower, you had some really dark thoughts, but like, I guess going from there, it was only you were focusing on like Kirk's mission. Like this is what you need to do, and this is how you heal and cope with everything.
So in regards to so that day, it took a lot I grew up, you know, men don't cry, yada yada yada. Right? A lot of us grew up that
Yeah.
way.
Everyone at this table, for the most part.
It was hard
Yeah.
to pick up the phone and, you know, call Palliative Manitoba to get a counselor. It was very hard.
Yeah.
Most beautiful people in the world. Cindy picked up the phone, said, I'm going to move you to the front of the list. Because she knew how hard it was, and I told her how hard it is and that what had happened,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to move forward. Every week, like an hour, 20 minutes, you know, I would speak to someone at Palliative Manitoba. They would help me organize my thoughts, kind of help me put myself back a little bit together. I'm not fully together. I'm probably never going to be
Never will.
fully.
Yeah.
You don't
Never,
have to
ever.
be.
Yeah.
No.
And you don't have to be.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. I can just be me.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And I'm okay with just being me.
Yeah.
But when I mean like put myself together, well, how does making so mentally, physically, right? I'd weighed almost 300 pounds because I was, and I'm not joking, like 300 pounds, almost. I was eating ice cream. I was eating everything to feel good.
Just
I was
anything.
I was
Yeah.
eating, right?
Yeah.
And eating, and well, guess what? I lost like 80 pounds.
It's
And I'm
amazing.
running again now 4 miles a day and all this, which is the help that Palliative Manitoba helped me change into a different direction of not thinking of that day, but thinking of Kirk in a good way every day, not in a what I saw.
Well, and it's
Every day.
also a
Yeah.
result of the lesson he taught you.
It is the lesson. It's the
That goddamn lesson I'm sure you think about all the time.
I do think about that lesson all the time. He, you know, I
Well, this is his way of rubbing it in continuously, and he's gonna keep doing
and
that.
he would be happy thinking
Yeah,
that.
he'll never
He'd be
stop.
like, haha, Dad.
Well, maybe that's when when he's kind of laughing, and that's when
Yeah.
he sends the fox, or the bird, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you know what? It's so weird. So when we got his phone, from the accident and stuff like that, his last video, so weird. He videotaped a fox.
Oh,
His last video ever.
He was already telling you.
He was already.
yeah.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
I miss him dearly. I walk this world with a hole in my heart.
Of course.
My wife walks a hole in her heart. My other son, a hole in her. So many people walk
Yep.
now with a hole in their heart, missing him dearly. But it's human nature to feel those feelings, right?
Well, it's love.
It is.
It's love,
It is.
and it's not love lost, but love changed.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But
Yeah.
we also know that we need to move forward in a way that we can spread Kirk's heroism, what he did,
It's important.
how he saved 7 people, how I can now save 7 people upon my passing, if
Yeah.
if and when it ever happens, and how others can now save people through the Kirk Cadman Memorial Classic and through the Walk of Dreams. And because Transplant Manitoba is a partner with us with doing that, and Athletics Manitoba, we have now had hundreds of people sign up for organ donation that weren't before.
Where can you do that if you're gonna do that?
You can go to the Transplant Manitoba website. And
Okay.
you can,
Yeah, we want to share that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you have to look at it this way. Imagine your child needs something, and imagine the stress on that family every single day. Imagine the parents not being able to sleep. Imagine what the child is going through,
I
right?
can't even think if my daughter needed that.
Yeah.
A, how I would feel without it, and B, how I would feel after it.
And
I cannot even picture either of those scenarios.
it's a difficult scenario but it happens, and it happens all the time, and people die needlessly all the time, and this can change. This doesn't need to happen this way.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you want to live on through others, right? And
That's what Kirk's doing.
so it's what he's doing. Yeah,
Well,
Whether you like it or not, that's what he's
yeah.
doing.
he is. He is. Yeah.
I never met this person. My wife's and my brother-in-law's best friend. He this was before we even met. He was in the army,
Okay.
and one day basically it was just like, you know what, I have a hard time breathing. Everyone thought he's a pussy, you know, he's whatever, he can't handle it. His lungs collapsed.
Oh.
And so for about 7 or 8 years, he was walking around with oxygen. Got married, and you know, they couldn't really do anything together. They really wanted to have a baby, but it would probably kill him, right? To
Yep.
try to have a child.
Yep.
He got a lung transplant, and because of that, they got a baby. Unfortunately, he passed away now. But you know, he had the option of having a child with his wife, and
he lives on through that
he
child.
lives on through
Right.
that child.
That's
yeah,
exactly what
So
I was thinking.
It's that's the only story that I somewhat know through, like, closer
And-
to someone, right?
And what if that child one day cures cancer, or
Exactly.
or becomes the next prime minister of Canada or something, right? Like,
or donates their organs when they
exactly.
go to
Yeah.
continue
to
life.
help-
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
no, it's an amazing thing. And yeah, like, to me, like, I remember when I moved here from Europe, and I got my Manitoba license, and my wife was right, hey, like, there's this card that you can fill out. It was like instantly like, yep, like,
Yeah.
if I'm dead, like,
Well,
I really don't care what's going to happen to my body, because I know what's going to happen to my body, you know.
Yeah.
And if you can use something, then sure.
when your time is
Yeah.
up,
I mean,
Why not?
I'm actually
Why not?
surprised.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised if anybody would be against it, but I guess they're still.
well,
Well,
you know,
there's
and
a lot of
there's-
yeah.
there's a lot of hurdles in that, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of, like, attachment to your own
Yeah.
thing.
Yes,
and there's
yeah.
religious things.
I mean,
and, like,
I
there's a lot of
personally
that.
don't understand those reasons, right?
Yeah,
But,
I
like, because I'm looking at it, I believe in science, and I believe, and like, I think if we can help, why not?
Yeah, and that's exactly what the message is. If we
Yeah.
can help, why not?
Yeah.
Right? There,
It's simple.
give me a bad reason why
Yeah,
why
it's
we
simple.
couldn't, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
like,
sure.
You know, it's that message. You know, and always make sure that you do talk to your family
Mm-hmm.
and you do let them know your wishes, no matter
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
have the card signed or not.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Thank you for sharing that, because that's something
Yeah.
people probably don't know.
No, they
like,
don't.
I mean, I know I have a will. I don't know if it states in my will, but I mean, that's something like we talked about with my kids, that hey, there is that will in case something happens, right? And but yeah, that's a very important topic to discuss for sure.
Yeah, and you know, and even so, Kirk, he was young. We had never expected any, and he probably never expected any of being hit by a semi and stuff like
Yeah.
that, right? Like it was just a freak accident. And,
Yeah.
you know, with that being said, you know, sometimes this is why those conversations are important, because sometimes there is no will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Kirk was young. There was no will.
Yeah.
Kids his age don't have estates. They don't have these things, right?
That's right.
No.
And, you know, they just have a beginning of life.
Yeah.
And, you know, and when they do happen, you know, I just can't tell you enough. Have those conversations. It's so important to share those conversations with as many people as you can within your family, so that when the time does come, if you choose to donate,
That your wishes are
are
well, and you had
are
said
honored.
you had clearly spoken about it had to be a unanimous vote
Yep.
with a bunch of people,
Yep.
and like there was no question. So
Yep.
like his wishes were made,
Yep.
and he made them clear.
Yep.
And you all made them clear.
Yeah. I mean,
And your uncle's story helped that.
it
for sure.
really did.
But
Yeah.
like, I think if you're listening to this, and I'm taking this away from this, I'm gonna have a conversation with my
Yeah.
wife, my parents, my brothers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I go, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Just do what I'm asked. Like, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no debate. There's no confusion. It's because in those times also, there are times of distress, and like your mind's clouded. You're not sleeping. You're unbelievably traumatized, and like if those wishes are so clearly defined that it's not a question, which what happened in your situation.
Yep.
Yeah, that
That's
decision was
great.
made quickly. I
Yeah.
bet, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for being here today.
It was a pleasure being here. Thank you.
I don't have any more words about this story. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful and so sad. Like,
It
it's
is.
just,
It is.
I think I need a nap.
Well, you know, like the song "Every Rose Has Its Thorn,"
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
It has its thorns, but it is beautiful.
I am so grateful that you took time to come here and share with us and with our listeners. And like, I just, it's just a big fucking gift that you showed up here today to talk to us. And like, I really appreciate that.
I feel inspired.
And Kirk, if you're listening, which you are,
He is.
thank you for your sacrifice.
Absolutely.
I won't ever forget it. And I didn't even have to meet him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you being here. We want to share all the things about the walk
Yes.
and the track and the meet and all the things you guys are doing.
We
and
will
like,
throw it all into pod scripts, add links to it. So
please don't be a stranger to the show.
Okay.
Don't be a stranger to us, our listeners. If you have questions, again, like quietRiotShow@gmail.com, Instagram @quietRiotShow. Ask
Facebook.
anything you want. We'll happily connect you with any of this stuff. Or if you have questions, just ask. I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All Quiet Riot Show episodes have been recorded and produced by SuverMedia. If you think you have an idea for a podcast but don't have the space or proper equipment, please visit SuverMedia.com for more information. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit the follow button and leave us a review if the platform you are listening on allows you to do so. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Quiet Riot Show, and follow us on the Instagram page @QuietRiotShow. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in these topics. If you know anyone that would enjoy these topics, feel free to share our podcast with them. Also, let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch with us in the comments on our channel and social media, or send us an email to quietriotshow@gmail.com.